This is a slam dunk. Journalists cannot break the law and then when they get caught, say, it's fine, I'm innocent, I was just filming it. That's just not how it goes. Imagine your house gets broken into at 2 a.m. and Don Lemon is interviewing you in your pajamas while the house is getting ransacked and your kids are crying. You can't be there. It's so obvious. This guy was premeditated, he conspired, he knew the target ahead of the time, and then when he gets in there, he actively encourages the disruption. They intimidate everybody, get along on the side of the pews, box them in, and then start screaming at the children, your parents are gonna rot in hell. They were yelling to the parents, this is the house of the devil. And so Don Lemon the whole time is watching, he's like, yep, kids are crying, they're traumatized, but you know what? It's gotta happen. This is nuts. If this had happened at a synagogue, a mosque, forget about it. Don Lemon gets in the pastor's face and starts threatening him and intimidating him. Kids were screaming because they thought their parents were gonna get shot. Some of the parents couldn't get access to their children because they didn't have a way to get out of there. They had no escape plan. Eventually, they just fled for safety. So Don Lemon, the whole time, is waxing poetic as people are crying and thinking they're about to be punched in the face. Now, and then he goes out and he sells the video on his website. People on January 6th were arrested, actual journalists, and they didn't even go inside the Capitol. And for all the journalists that are out there saying oh, he's a journalist, no journalist has ever done this before. This is the first time anybody invaded a church, shot it, and then tried to get off because they said they were a journalist. I can't believe he thinks this is fine. I think he's actually going to do time.
Harold, in the charging documents, it references what Jesse was talking about, which is that Lemon allegedly communicated quite heavily with those individuals that organized storming the church. And to take Jesse's analogy a bit further, if you're filming the burglary, you wait outside. You don't storm the front door and interview the screaming child while the bedroom is ransacked. A lot of people were frightened that day. And more importantly, their service worshiping the Lord was interrupted, which is staunchly unconstitutional.
You're right about that part. It's good to be with everybody. It seems like it's been a little while longer than it has. I'd say two things about Don Lemon, because I want to talk about Mr. Holman in a positive way. Let the chips fall where they may. Don Lemon, he's got a great lawyer, Abby Lowell. Everybody has the presumption of innocence, as we all know around the table, when these things happen. And we'll have to see if the facts are what you and Greg so eloquently said. He will have a challenge. I want to get to Tom Holman for one moment, because I think we're at a moment here where both sides, where cooler heads are starting to prevail. There's been an admission on the side of the White House that maybe some of the ways they were going about this first was maybe too aggressive. The wacky liberals need to understand what they're doing in terms of some of these tactics in protesting. It's not working. Everybody's trying to push a reset. Now, there's some who are saying they don't believe that Tom Holman is serious and that he can be trusted and that President Trump can be trusted. If we judge everything that way, we will never come to agreement or reach some kind of reconciliation about things if we just mistrust everybody, if everybody might have been wrong before, and everybody's now trying to come together. So if you're in the problem-solving business or you want to problem solve, you got to be in that business, and you got to be willing to reconcile and forgive. Two, Mr. Holman, I think, is right when he says that the jails ought to give up the criminals, ought to give up those who are national security and public safety threats in exchange for a different federal law enforcement posture, radically different federal law enforcement posture there in Minneapolis. I'd say to those who, again, are suspicious of that, you can't be suspicious and not want to engage and try to find an answer if you're serious about trying to find an answer. And that goes for both sides of it. Now, where Mr. Holman is also right, people who are in this country illegally are guests, and they're trying to find a way to be here permanently. And if they commit a crime, a violent crime, they should be arrested and, frankly, deported. Where we have a difference, and I have a difference perhaps with some around the table and even some in the administration, is the hierarchy in which you do this. So you just go and pick up people who are here paying taxes, raising their kids, who may be here illegally. Do you deport them, or do we find a different way? But we'll get to that conversation. I would urge Democrats, Republicans, and particularly the leadership of Minneapolis to take Mr. Holman at his word. I've been critical of him on this show in the past. I said sometimes I thought he tried to do a Clint Eastwood approach to this, but he's actually doing this the right way. And I hope that Mr. Fry, and I hope that Mr. Ellison, I hope that Governor Walz give him the benefit of the doubt.
And certainly under the Obama administration, he deservedly so received awards for his service, so bipartisan support for Holman's work. I note that as we watch the live protests,
yeoman's work.
as we watch the live protests, we're seeing apparently it's now broadened in aperture because it's not just anti-ICE, it's now pro-Palestinian. I mean,
well, it's good to know that the protesters are so focused and so on message. You know, that's just incredible discipline. Are they going to trot out Greta Thunberg here any moment to call for the global intifada, and then maybe cry some tears for those poor polar bears just off the shores of Greenland?
Click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You won't get it anywhere else.